I am Slick Nick, the living legend of hair loss, your personal hairline hero, and of course, the red pill pusher of hair loss. And yes, it is true that right now as I'm filming this video, I definitely, absolutely have COVID. You can watch my other series, The COVID Chronicles. This is day number 4 of me having symptoms, and it's been 4 days since I officially got certified with that piece of paper showing I definitely have COVID. But I am red pill mentality. I'm powering through despite shortcomings handed to me. I will find a way to overcome. That's red pill thinking, which is largely a new theme of these hair loss videos. Let's talk about Danny DeVito. So right now, my wife and I are catching up on some old movies, revisiting some movies from the 80s on Amazon Prime. And the one we're through right now, this is like my second or third time to see it, is Throw Mama from the Train. So this is a movie starring Danny DeVito. Let's talk about Danny DeVito. So he's been a professional actor in movies and TV since the 70s. In fact, I just watched one of his older movies. I think it was his first movie on Netflix a couple weeks ago, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So he's in that movie and you almost wouldn't recognize him, but he's still bald. And he's still only 5 foot tall. So let's talk about that. We have a man who's 5 foot tall, and he's pretty much been bald his entire adult life. He wasn't in movies and TV until he was already bald on top. And you can see that when he was younger in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which as of recent was still on Netflix. So this is a man who started off on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He ended up on the sitcom Taxi. Later on, he ended up being in the first real Batman movie, actually the second, when he played the Penguin. And he's been in one of my favorite movies, Big Fish. Of course, now he's on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He had a very funny part on an episode of Friends. He's been in so much stuff. 5 foot tall, and never had hair on top of his head as an adult. This is a man who is one of the most famous actors that exist, Danny DeVito. 5 foot tall, no hair on top as an adult. So it's interesting, this whole red pill thing that I'm selling you, right? And I've got viewers who are black pill, and they will say, some people are given a lot in life where they have no hope because they don't have enough hair or they're not tall enough, and no woman's gonna love them. But what about Danny DeVito? What if he thought like that? Well, I guess he would have been right. Instead, I guess you can Google this if you want to. Why don't you just go ahead and look up how much money Danny DeVito is worth. Of course, money doesn't equal happiness in itself, but we have a man who has had a consistent career in acting, in television and movies for 5 decades. I mean, 50 years into this thing at this point. A very successful man. Now granted, he was married for many years. He eventually got divorced, but he was married for many years. So it's not like he didn't find someone who would marry him. So it's interesting. What if Danny DeVito would have taken the black pill instead of the red pill? I argue with you. I submit to you that Danny DeVito took the red pill. He worked with what he had, which was being a 5 foot tall Italian American with no hair on top. And honestly, a unibrow. You can, even in the movie that I'm watching now, Throw Mama from the Train, he got a unibrow. He was able to make that work for himself. I would have to imagine he's happy. Granted, had he got to choose how he would look, he probably wouldn't have chose how he looks. But man, what a successful person. So it's interesting. How is he the exception to the rule? How is he the exception to the rule? I would say it's because Danny DeVito is red pill. Your comments are right here.